Ladies all around the world, listen up. We're looking for you. The time has come to be unstoppable together. The danger of executive women is worrying we're not enough, obsessed with perfection and failing to perform. You're in the right place. It's now time to be unstoppable together with Connie Fife. She was the director of the United States Chamber of Commerce and CEO of Girl Scouts USA. Sit down, squat down, or lie down. It's time for Up or Out, all business with Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva and chair of the Fife Group, helping women in leadership achieve excellence and be unstoppable together.
Hi, this is Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva, and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie. You can hear us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, the C-Suite Network, and 1,900 analog stations, networks around the world in 145 countries. So be sure to subscribe with us on iTunes because you don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you're looking for expert advice, how to move up in the C-suite, or perhaps is going out and becoming an entrepreneurial leader, you want to be right here. You want to stay right here. And you could also check us out on our Facebook page. Just look for Up or Out, because every day we are adding information for myself and also for my guests. You want to stay connected because we are going to help you excel, achieve excellence. And of course, we could all be unstoppable together. Now, on with today's show, because it is going to be awesome, fantastic. So remember, if you have a desire to move up and be heard in the boardroom or go out and be that entrepreneur, we got it all right here for you. So here's my quote for today. Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter what, try again, fail better. I'm going to just jump off really quick right now, take a sponsor break, and we'll be right back with today's awesome guest. Hi, this is Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva, your host of Up or Out with Connie. I am thrilled to be a headline show on C-Suite Network, where you can grow your brand, grow your tribe, and be unstoppable. We are the hottest podcast for entrepreneurs, C-level executives, and market leaders. And you can hear me each week right here on the C-Suite Network. Also on Conscious Business Network, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, and over 900 stations around the globe. Be sure to follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable. We're back and you're listening to Up or Out with Connie, and it's time to turn up the volume because I want you to stay tuned to the end of the show because you don't want to miss any of the exciting giveaways and announcements that we have for you today. So our unstoppable guest. So it is my pleasure to introduce a guy who is an internationally recognized customer service expert, keynote speaker, and frontline trainer who helps organizations think differently about customer service. He is none other than Adam Toporek.
Hey, Connie, how are you?
I am good, Adam. Did I say your last name correctly?
You did.
Oh, right.
Congratulations.
I was practicing that this morning.
It's a rare thing. It's quite a feat you accomplished.
Oh, well, thank you. So customer service. Everybody needs customer service. I mean, there's not an organization that does not need customer service, and many that need customer service training. That begs, is the customer always right?
Ugh, that's the old question that everyone hates. So you probably, I don't know if on video, but I've got behind me my book, Be Your Customer's Hero. And the first chapter is the customer always blank? Right. And it's that question because you talk to frontline, service representatives, anybody like that, and you ask them that question, or they will ask me when I'm doing trainings, like, is the customer right? I hate that. It's stupid. And I'm like, yeah, it's stupid. Customers are wrong. They're wrong all the time. So if you take it literally, it's a horrible thing, right? The customer's definitely not always right. I mean, they're ridiculously wrong.
The customer is not going to be happy to hear that either.
Well, yeah, but the point is, where does this phrase come from, right? So if we look at the sort of history of the phrase, it came from trying to change people's mentality about customers, because it used to be a very what we would call transactional versus relational approach to customers.
Right.
Back in the day, 100 years ago, customers were get the maximum out of each transaction.
Right.
And this was about the relationships. This is about what we call now, they didn't have the term back in the day, customer centric, right?
Right.
Centering your experience around that customer. So when you look at that, is the customer always right? No, of course not. But the ethic behind it, the feeling behind it, that is important still.
Yeah, we need to let them think. Now, anybody that's married knows this. You let them think they are the ones that got it right.
We're not even 2 minutes in, you're getting me in trouble already.
Oh, hey, come on. That psychology or,
right.
My husband's always right. And I tell him that all the time. Come on.
Oh, he's a husband. He's supposed to know you're always right. I've learned.
But sometimes we got to remind. So why is it so difficult to, who's right, who's wrong? I mean, where does that psychology come in to help the customer understand that we are providing the best customer service we can for you?
Right. So if you say, part of it's how we frame it, right? So we talk a lot about framing when you frame an issue for a customer or frame how you approach something. So part of it is not framing it to yourself or to the organization, who's right or wrong. Is that really the most important question? Sometimes it's going to matter. Okay, there, let's say 10% of the time, who's right or wrong does really matter. It's a contractual dispute or something. But who said what, about where something is on the shelf or something very low level, right? Where the customer's upset. It doesn't matter what you said. It doesn't matter what your colleague said. It doesn't matter what the sign said. That's not the point. The point is, how can I help this customer right now? The customer's gotten upset because of that. The customer's had an emotional reaction. Right. So first thing is, what do we focus on? If we're focused on who's right or wrong, what are we going to do? This is about managing our own psychology. Yeah. If that's our focus,
that doesn't resolve the problem. Right.
Right. Yeah. So, it's all how you frame it. So if you're focused on what's right or wrong or who's right or wrong, then that's where your brain's going to go. That's the answer that your brain's going to provide. Right. If you focus on how can I fix this? How can I help this customer feel better about this situation? Well, then you're going to start providing those answers to yourself.
And that's human nature. People get very defensive. No, that's not my issue that it's not on the right shelf. And that's where that right or wrong comes in, or they start pointing the fingers at each other, that they're working together. And, we have to be very, very cautious of that. So what are some of the really positive methods for handling those difficult customer? You're in a restaurant. My family owned a restaurant for years, and I did everything from bartending to serving to cooking to doing the dishes.
So
I know, and sometimes, especially when you're bartending and people have a few drinks, I know that's probably a little bit to the extreme, but you're going to have difficult customers. They don't like the way you made something. So what's the best way to handle those type of situations?
Well, if you don't mind, let's step back when I do training, I do customer service workshops, training, whether they be live or virtual. I often start off with, okay, I know what you all want to know. You all want to know, what do I do when somebody's screaming at me, they're red-faced, they're cursing, and how do I handle that? Right. That's the thing nobody's prepared for, right? That really is where training comes in, where skills and techniques come in. Yeah. And I always say, I promise I'm going to get there, but there's some things we need to talk about first. So one of the things is understanding what made that customer upset. Now, in the case of what you gave, it could be Jack Daniels, which is a whole different situation, right? That's a different issue. But often we don't look at why the customer's upset. And we don't look at what we did to contribute to that customer being upset. Okay. Now, some customers, there's a range of personalities. And you sort of look at like the old standard normal distribution, right? The big thing in the middle, and they go out to the ends. Well, on the far end of one side, there's a customer that you could do pretty much anything to, and they're going to smile and be like, that's okay. I still love you. And then there's the people on the other end of the curve, right? And you just like one little thing is wrong. Like there was a paper clip on the floor when I walked in. You people are the worst, and they lose their mind, right? And I come from retail, so I'm used to, you can actually find really insane people in retail. So, but you got to look at, okay, so what did we do? The paperclip on the floor is extreme. Those people are going to get set off by something. But there's a whole continuum on the way to that of people that are they're either triggered by something, and we teach something called the 7 service trigger, and I'll give you a couple of those.
Okay.
Being ignored. How do you feel when you go into a company and they ignore you, or you call and they never answer? Right? Being abandoned. What happens when you're talking to somebody and they're like, well, we're going to have to get back to you, and a day goes by, 2 days goes by.
Yeah.
You never hear from them. You're abandoned.
That's the worst.
How about being hassled? Hey, you want to buy something that's $9, but you have to fill out a huge form. Or better yet, you want a refund that's like $9, and it's 4 different phone calls,
right?
A form, a picture, all the right. I mean, there's being hassled too.
Yeah.
So, and those are 3 of the 7 service triggers. So if you look at these triggers, we're culpable. Okay. In these cases, the company is culpable. You're taking people that, might have been a little upset or a little angry,
right,
or a little just annoyed or bothered, and we're escalating it. And another way we escalate it is by not knowing how to handle people and psychology and the training. So the other thing is that training, that communication piece.
So do you do a lot of around communication in your training, like understanding people and personalities and
absolutely.
That comes into play then. Okay.
Right. Because if you look at it, we live in the golden age of psychology now. We've learned, it's incredible. We've learned more in the past 20 years than in all of human history combined about brain science, how we react. And that's the good news. The bad news is what we've learned is that we're all crazy and irrational.
That's right.
Right. So that's the bad news if you're looking
at the new normal, as we refer to it.
Right. And social media and digital technology is not helping us wire our brains to be better. But if you look at that, we have these things, and this is a good example, cognitive biases. And some of these are like negativity bias, which means we seek out negative information over positive information. We do. We give more value to negative information over positive information, which is why if you look at the news, they have the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads, which is why watching your local news is a horror show. Yeah. Right? Because they know if they say, hey, the football team may be going to state, you may turn in. If they say, hey, your microwave's trying to kill you, news at 11, right?
I better listen to that one.
Right, exactly. Because our brain is there for one reason. This is where the evolutionary psychology comes in. Our brain is there to protect us and help us survive.
Right.
Now, the catch is, okay, let's take that over to the customer experience sphere. Negativity bias, we focus on the negative information. So if you ever had a customer where you did like 10 things right, but one thing wrong,
I'm guilty of that. I remember speaking to an audience of 1,000, and I have this really good technique about getting feedback from people. And in the audience, there was this one guy that was sleeping, and he was snoring, and I heard him snoring. And when I got all the feedback, I'm going through it, like, oh, raving reviews, raving. I get to the very last one, and I kid you not, it was the very last one, and it said, oh, she was boring. It made me sleep. I'm like, yeah, I know who gave me this one. Right. But that was the one I was focused on. I was like, why did you put him to sleep? Not the other 999 that said, oh, great job.
And that, right. So that's human nature. That's exactly, it's what we do as speakers, because I speak as well. That's with the feedback, but it's also what we do with customer experiences. So we forget everything they did right. We remember the email that, give us the bad news, or the time they dropped the ball and didn't call us when our order came in, or whatever it may be, even though we may have a 5-year relationship with them.
Right.
And they've been a great company. So, and here's the thing, that's where that continuum of people goes, right? So when you think of that continuum, well, some people won't get bothered if you have those sort of what Steve Jobs referred to as brand deposits, right?
Right.
Some people will give you a pass. I tend to give people a pass, or a company a pass if it's one time and I've had good experiences. Where it comes in is there are people who, on that continuum who will just, it doesn't matter. It's going to bother them. It's going to bother them. It's going to really bother them.
Right.
And that's where we get into difficult customers and challenging customers. But in the end, it's still the negative information. It's still the thing we cause. Right.
So do you agree? So you have a customer and, they've been a customer or maybe a long time, short time, whatever period of time, but they're a difficult customer. And no matter what you do, they're just not happy. They're just not satisfied. Do you believe in saying, you're fired? Like, you're out of here.
I'd never say it like that, but absolutely.
I did do that once. Like,
did you?
Yeah,
You're fired.
I did. I was like, you're fired. I can't deal with you anymore.
Well, I'm going to refrain from the word fired, but yes, I've absolutely asked customers to go patronize other businesses.
Well, that might be a little subtler way.
Yes. No, we've kicked. Well, first of all, I came from an industry where, I was in the spa industry for a while. So there was inappropriate behavior where we would boot people immediately because of inappropriate behavior. But just more than that,
Girl Scouts.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Oh yeah, I guess you get that anywhere. You got to keep an eye on it. But we're going to have to go to a sponsor break really soon. But I want you to share more because I know you have an awesome, phenomenal online course that's coming up really soon, and I want you to share that with our listeners because I know you're offering also a discount for them.
It's a course that's going to be launching in January called How to Deal with Difficult Customers. And it is actually at howtodealwithdifficultcustomers.com. But make sure to check out the show notes here, or what do you call them? Show notes?
Show notes? Yep.
All right, here, Connie, because we'll be giving a discount for your listeners, and they'll have a window where they can use that discount.
Awesome. And that's just coming up in a couple of weeks, right? January of 18?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, awesome sauce. So let our listeners know how they can find you. What's your website address?
Oh, you can find me at customersthatstick.com. And if you search Adam Toporek on the web, you will find me. There are not too many of us running around, and I sort of own the first page of Google. But yes, at least for my name. I don't own it for anything else. But yeah, customersthatstick.com. That's got links to social. We've got a great blog, great free content, and everything else we do.
Cool. Okay, now we're going to go to a sponsor break, but hang in there because we're going to come right back with Adam Toporek, who is number 1 on Google, by the way. And we'll be right back.
Are you an entrepreneur looking for more qualified leads? Podcasting is a great way to do that.
The podcast you're listening to right now is produced by Turnkey Podcasts, and we can do the same for you.
Over 100 million people listen to podcasts every month. 85% listen to the entire episode. Interview-based selling is 10 times more effective than traditional marketing campaigns.
Step into the new media space and let podcasting be your marketing, business development, and lead generation tool. Turnkey Podcast can take you from concept to launch. Instead of taking months, we can help you get there in as little as 30 days. After the launch, we do all of your editing, production, voiceover guy, royalty-free music. The bottom line is we're going to help you generate more qualified leads using podcasting. If you have a podcast already, we can show you how to better monetize it.
Go to turnkeypodcast.com/contact for a free consultation to learn more. Turnkeypodcast.com. You need more qualified leads for your business. Let us help you find them.
And we're back, and you're listening to Up or Out with WCONNIE. And joining us today is Adam Toporek. Now, Adam is an international recognized customer service expert. He's a keynote speaker. He's a frontline trainer. He's helping organizations get results by thinking differently about customer service. And that's what we've been talking about today. And he does it all around. He's being an entrepreneur, and he's a third generation entrepreneur, and he has extensive experience in retail, wholesale, franchising, and small business. He understands the impact that customer service can have on the bottom line. And how true is that? I mean, if people just aren't happy with you, and I mentioned the family had a restaurant, and the name of the restaurant, don't laugh, the name of the restaurant was called the Donkey Cafe.
Oh, you told me not to laugh. Sorry. That's very nice.
I try not to laugh. And I mean, it was back in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and the name of the donkey, it looks like an old house. And it was on Race and Grace Street, the corner there. Race Street was where they raced the donkeys when the coal miners would come out after a day's work. And then that house became the watering stop for the donkeys. Well, then it soon became a watering stop for the coal miners, and hence the Donkey
Nice.
Cafe. So that was the name for years. I mean, it's still there. Somebody else owns it now, but we had that for years and years and years. But when we talk about customer service, what was really interesting, my stepfather, he was, you ever hear of the soup Nazi?
Oh yeah, from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Well, he was the wing Nazi.
Okay.
And so you talk about knowing your customer. He definitely did not know his customer. He was always right, period. And if you eat wings, if you want to eat wings with the fork, he'd tell you to get out. That's not how you eat buffalo wings. If you wanted an extra napkin, no, you're only limited to so many napkins. People actually came because they enjoyed that entertainment.
Right.
And one guy, he's like, I love getting abused by him. He goes, I just come for the entertainment. So it's again, knowing your customers. And again, some customers got turned off by that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think those things are harder to pull off now because of competition, because of what people expect. But
You're right.
there's that place in Chicago that they just curse at you the whole time. You've seen, I don't know if you've seen that place. It's like hot dogs and burgers, and you literally go there to get abused. Like that's part of the shtick.
Yeah, and that was his too. And then we would fire him, and because we tell him, you're out of here. Like when on the busy nights, we're like, okay, you're losing customers, get out.
Right. And that's the catch. So I mean, that's a novelty shtick, and that can work in some areas.
Yeah.
But in the end,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially restaurants are so hyper competitive. So most of them fail,
and they're tough. They're really tough business. I mean, we were the third generation, or he was a third generation of that bar restaurant. And then when he and mom retired, my cousin bought it. And that was 10 years ago. They've had 4 owners since.
Oh yeah, it's my family was in the restaurant business for a little bit. It was never like the main thing. It was once I was an adult, but I was it's
so
not. It's a tough business, and there's always competition around the corner. People can get food anywhere, so you have to nail both the product. The product's got to be great for whatever price range it is, and you've got to nail the experience.
Yes. So we definitely had a really good product. I mean, we won the #1 Chef's Awards and, so on for a lot of years. But they came back for the entertainment of the abuse that they got. I was like, okay. People come in, where's Pete? We gave him the night off.
Right. That's awesome.
So Adam, this is time for the hot seat. So this is where we ask more questions about you. You want to know?
Okay. Woohoo. Let's do it.
So if you're ready, we're going to get going. So we start really easy with, what's your favorite quote? That one that keeps you going every single day.
Well, it shifts a lot, I got to tell you. It's like I like the Theodore Roosevelt quote about the man in the arena. I like Woodrow Wilson's the persistence quote. Those are like 2 of my favorites. But short ones, because we're doing radio here.
Yep.
One I found recently, I really love it, is Thoreau. It's the price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that.
One,
And then the other one, because I've made some dietary changes lately, and this one's anonymous or unknown, I should say. It's nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah. Oh, I have to remember that one because I went vegan myself a couple of years ago. So some days it's a little harder than others.
You are? We've never talked about that. We'll have to chat about that offline.
Yeah. I'm all vegan now. So did you know what you wanted? And that's being raised in a restaurant. Okay. So
we have a lot to talk about after.
So did you know what you wanted to do right from the start? I mean, you've talked about being in different industries, different business. So what led you then to this path of customer service?
All right. So the short answer is no, absolutely not. No clue what I wanted to do. Definitely have flitted around with different things. I'd say the one constant, I never got away from it for too many years, was always entrepreneurship or small business. I mean, I grew up, as you mentioned, 3rd generation entrepreneur. I've had multiple small businesses, myself. And, the path that led me to customer experience was through small business. So finally I went out like really on my own with a franchise concept.
Okay.
As a regional developer, as a franchisee. And it was then in the middle of doing that, in the middle of having this retail store, that I really saw how important customer experience was. And I've got a bachelor's in business, a master's in business. So, I've been exposed to all of it, service and customer experience, and to where I am now.
Cool. So we always have to start somewhere. And we always have failures along the way. But what was one of those failures that led you down the path to your success?
Ooh, man, tough questions here. This is the hot seat, Connie. I have a series. I never had one big failure. And I think part of that's my tendency to mitigate risk. I never had that one big one.
Okay.
Just like like wipe me out and I had to claw back from the bottom.
Right.
I've had definitely a lot of mid-range and low range type of failures.
Okay.
One you said that led me to where I am now. It's a very sort of small one, but when I first started blogging in 2011, I'm in the franchise world, running my own business, running actually multiple businesses at that point, I think 3. And I started blogging about small business and franchising. And within, I don't know, like 5-6 months, I realized that almost everything I was writing was about customer service and customer experience for the great majority.
Okay.
And what I enjoyed writing about, what I feel that my affinity is in that area. And so I literally just upended my blog completely. Did hey, we're changing. This is no longer about franchising or specifically small business.
Right.
This is about customer service and customer experience. And it was that change that led me to being sought after in that area now.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. And like I said, I never ever imagined I'd be doing radio or let alone podcasting. I had no clue what that was. I mean, but things change through life. But the important part is that we look at something like me. That my greatest devastation was when I lost my job with Girl Scouts. And when they said, we don't need you anymore, I was devastated. I mean, it was like a 12-hour notice that I got. And it just blew me away. But that led me down that path to where I'm at today. I would never have gone exploring other opportunities if I had been there, if I had just stuck my head in the sand and said, okay, I'm a failure. I can't do this. But we need to always keep going and be on the lookout for those other opportunities. So what are those final words of wisdom that you would give to an entrepreneur who are pursuing their path to success?
Buy low, sell high. Here, we'll do this like individual level and the company level. I sort of think of it 2 different ways. At the individual level, I mean, for young entrepreneurs growing up in this generation, the social media world, it's very simple, which is don't be the Kardashians. Okay. And what
thank you.
Well, what I mean by that is there's a lot of internet sort of famous going on right now, which is great. And some people actually make a living at it.
And they do, and they're fantastic marketers. I mean, you have to give them that. I mean, you do, but
and that's the but is the problem, which is it's a tendency to see that people are being successful, just pointing a camera at themselves and being themselves and sort of getting rewarded for celebrity without substance. And here's the thing, that is a lottery ticket strategy. Okay. It's only a handful of people that do that actually are successful financially and successful financially in a way that is going to sustain.
Will sustain their life over a time. And that's only like minuscule. It's like less than 1% of people that are doing that, just like speakers. People that are speaking only for a living, the ones that are doing that, it's less than 1% that are doing that.
And you and I have met, and first of all, I respect anybody that tries and it's out there working it, but I've met people like that. I mean, you were a CEO. I've been in business, most of my life and have been in the trenches. I like to think I have something to actually offer. When people come to me for my opinion, I have an opinion and I can adapt that based on what they're telling me because I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it. And there's just a lot of people out there just saying, oh, well, hey, I am an expert at blank. And I don't mind fake it till you make it. But I think what happens is if you're not still improving, if you're not trying to be one of the best in your area, your city, the world at what you do, if you're not able to produce like incredible, tangible value for people, that's what puts you in this position to succeed. And that translates to the company level. I mean, the restaurant example? Okay, be awesome. Whatever your level is, fast food, fast casual, fine dining, be awesome and have the best experience possible.
Yes. And you make a really good point about being awesome at what it is that you're good at. And then when other people come and when they're talking to you, then you could say, so again, we'll stay with the restaurant example. I mean, we were a sports bar. We were known for our buffalo wings. But when people came, we had other choices on the menu. But be really good at that one thing. And then all of the rest of it is a la carte. It's menu selection that they can come and get. Wow, I just came up with that.
I like that. That was cool. Yeah, you gotta get that on a pillow or something.
I know.
At least a quote card.
I think we need to start putting these quotes out. Sometimes things just come to you.
That's awesome.
Well, Adam, Toporek, thank you for being here today. You've been amazing. And you just an inspiration to so many people. I mean, the minute we met and we just immediately connected. I mean, it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me, Connie. And yeah, we just did have that connection, and yeah, you are unstoppable. And I love that about people. So
well, thank you. So you can learn more about Adam at his website as customersthatstick.com, and make sure you check out in our episode notes here because he has some freebies, some giveaways for you. Oh, and there's my telephone. Well, let me shut that off that I always tell my guests to do.
It happens.
This is live radio.
Exactly.
Well, that's all I got for today. And as always, our time goes by so quickly. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes because you don't want to miss any of the good stuff. And if you want some expert advice, head over to my Facebook page, the Upper Out page, and just look for some valuable feedback information that we're putting in there every day. It's a business with a boost. And if there's a guest that you want to recommend or a topic that you'd like to hear, send me a message to teamfife@fifegroup.com because we love hearing from our listeners. It's been great being here with you today. Ask yourself if you could do something different to get a different result today, what would that be? This is Connie Fife, your unstoppable diva. And until next time, be bold, be connected, and be unstoppable together.